Hey everybody, it is Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I want to come to you today with a video where I show off a new acquisition and then I respond or answer some viewer comments I've gotten on some of my previous videos, because maybe I don't explain myself that well. Well, let's talk about the gun I bought. It's actually a gun that you guys have seen, and you guys have seen me review, but originally it was not my gun, but now it is. This is the Russian-made in 1954, the SKS. Yeah, I reviewed this gun. This was Ken's. And after I reviewed that gun, I mentioned in that video that I really like this. And I guess this is now my first Milsurp rifle I've ever bought. Really cool, shot really well, really interesting history. And I asked Ken when I returned it to him, I said, hey, would you ever be interested in selling that? Because that's a really fun rifle, and it's really cool that it is Russian made. It's not a Yugoslavian one. It's not a Chinese one. It's a real Russian SKS. And at the time he said, no, I'm not interested, but if I ever do sell it, I'll give you the opportunity to buy it. Well, he messaged me a couple of days ago and said, hey, you still interested in that SKS? I'm like, yeah, why do you want to sell it now? It turns out his cat has gotten sick, and his cat needed some surgery. And so he was needing some money for his cat's surgery. So I bought the rifle from him, and he gave me a pretty fair price on it. And I picked it up, and I've taken it apart. I've oiled and greased everything. I took it out of the stock, and I'm real happy with it. But I told Ken when I bought it that if in a while he regrets selling it, I'll sell it back to him, because I know he needed the money for his cat, and I'm really I'm an animal person, but I've had cats in the past, and I want to make sure his cat gets what it needs. And I was like, listen, if you really want it back later and you feel like you sold it under duress because you needed the money, I'll sell it back. And I also made him the promise that if I ever decide to sell it, which I rarely sell any firearm from my collection, that I would give him first opportunity to buy it. So it's mine now, but who knows? Maybe one day he'll get it back, because I'm not 100% sure he really wanted to sell it, but he gave me a good deal, and he knows that I'm going to take care of it. So I picked up that Russian SKS. So now I have my first Milsurp rifle, and I think it's a really, really cool one, both from a mechanical and a historical standpoint. But anyway, I wanted to respond to some comments I've gotten on some of my latest videos here on the Texas Gun Vault 2. For some reason, I've been getting a lot more traction on this channel. Don't really know why. It's just a behind-the-scenes channel. But the first comment I want to kind of respond to, in fact, I ended up just banning the guy because of his demeanor. But I made a video recently where I talked about the box, or the presentation box, for the commemorative M17 SIG pistol. And I mentioned that I had the box for the commemorative 17, the commemorative M18, and then I got the contract overrun of the M18. I was able to still get the box because SIG apparently makes it, but they've discontinued and no longer sell the M17 commemorative box. And I talked about, jokingly, how now there's a hole in my heart that I'll never be able to get that box. So the collection might never be complete. And in the end of that video, I simply said and stated, if you guys know or ever see one of those boxes for sale that just happens to be, a surplus, some gun store has one, or you see one on an auction site, let me know, because I really need it to complete the collection. But apparently this guy thought I was asking you all to get it for me. He's like, I can't believe you. You're such a scumbag. You're asking your subscribers to buy you it. And I'm sitting here like, whoa, hold on a second. Have you even watched my channel? Have you even seen my collection and the guns that I have? You really think that a $125 box is a make or break deal for me? Like, oh my God, I can't afford that? All I did was ask, hey, if you ever happen to see one of these things out in the wild, let me know, because I needed to complete the collection. So he was such a rude person in the comment and accused me of being a bad person. I just banned him. I didn't even respond to it, but I couldn't believe it. I guess people lack comprehension because I went back and watched the video to make sure I said everything the way I meant it to be understood. And I think I was pretty clear. I was like, hey, I need to buy this box. If you guys ever see one, let me know. Just I mentioned it in passing, and the whole video was kind of a joke because, everything's fine. It's just like, my collection's not complete, and as an OCD, gun collector, I kind of need that box to complete it, but, it's just the way it goes. It's part of the fun of gun collecting is you're on that constant search for that next thing you need. But anyway, he apparently didn't understand that. So, and then I made a video just a couple days ago where I talked about the story of the ATF showing up to a friend of a friend's house over them purchasing one of those FRT triggers off of Gunbroker. And in that video, I mentioned that it just goes to prove, in general, not that this person was one of those people, that while there's a ton of people that comment on my pistol brace videos or on videos here on this channel when I talk about these political topics, and they say one of three things typically. I won't comply. They say the ATF can't create law. And they essentially say something to the effect that if they come and try to confiscate my property, they're going to get the bullets first, talking all this big game. And in the video, I said, this just goes to show that all those people are just keyboard warriors and they don't mean it. And they're a bunch of wimps. They feel good about saying stuff online. Now, I want to say that I'm glad that nobody has done anything rash or radical, because I don't think you should. Because that's not the way we're going to win this battle. If something happens and the ATF goes to someone's house to, try to find out information on buying an FRT trigger or a pistol brace or whatever, and they get into some firefight, that's not going to look good on us as gun owners. But what I was trying to make the point of is all these people are all talk. They're not really in the game. So, for example, in the past week, there was this story in New York City where I guess this homeless person was restrained on a train because this person was essentially assaulting other people on the train. And 3 men held them down, and more specifically, there was this one former Marine that I guess put him in a headlock, and this homeless person ended up dying. Okay? So what do people that are of the thought that this was some type of public lynching and there needs to be... Well, what do? They go to the streets and they protest, right? They make a big deal of it. They march in the streets, they hold up signs, and this happens in cities around the country. Well, these I won't comply people, they're going to get the bullets first. What happens when the ATF actually starts going door to door to confiscate items and to find items? What do? They go onto YouTube channels like mine and say things like, I won't comply, and the ATF can't create law. Do they actually go out into the streets and organize and protest at their town halls? Do they go to the ATF headquarters in Martinsburg, West Virginia, or Washington, D.C., or the Department of Justice and stand outside with signs and protest? Do they band together and march? No, they don't do that. Do they contact their representatives? No. Do they come to the aid of these gun owners that are getting these visits from the ATF and saying, we're on your side, tell me where I can donate, I'm going to hire you an attorney, I'm going to, or attorneys will go up and work for them pro bono? Are they doing that? No, they're not doing that. What are they doing? They're being keyboard warriors. They're going online and saying they won't comply. Well, good for them, fine. But there's a big difference. As I said before, the anti-gunners, they march in the streets. They bail each other out of jail. They peacefully protest. And when their side gets arrested or the property confiscated, They go out and they try to get it back. But what does our side do? All these people that talk big, they don't do anything. And so that's what I want to say. People seem to misconstrue what I was saying. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know that I'm calling them out. I'm not saying I want them to do anything. I'm just saying, like, they say one thing and then they don't do anything in response. People were saying, oh my God, this guy's like a Ray Epps on January 6th. No, whatever, I'm just saying that I'm just calling their bluff. It's funny. It's only because they're mean to me is why I call them out. They come on my channel and they talk all big and they say these things. And when it actually comes down to it, where the ATF is visiting people's houses, they all shut up. They don't want to know anything about it, And some people are saying, well, the RTF or the FRT triggers are different than the pistol braces. There's so few of them. Well, I was reading a thing where I guess Rare Breed said they made and shipped 900,000 of those. And then that doesn't even cover the ones that were made by the other company. Big Daddy Unlimited made one. I forgot what they called it. The wide open trigger. So I don't know how many of those were made and sent out. No idea. So there's a lot of them. And to put that in perspective, the big Australian gun confiscation that happened in 1996 was 600,000 guns. That was it, 600,000. So there are more of these force reset triggers that were sold than that gun confiscation. And they're like, but that's the thing though. As long as it doesn't affect them, they don't care. This whole I will not comply crowd or the ATF candidates, when it doesn't apply to them, they don't care. They're not going to go help any other gun owners. Now, the pistol brace, yeah, there's way more of them. Now they're all upset about it. But, there's been a lot of people that have, when it came to the bump stock ban, they turned them in, and then tried to fight it in court. And did these I won't comply people help? No, they waited for other people to do the work. Now that they're coming for the FRT stuff, the people that bought, especially off of Gunbroker, are they going out to help those people? No. Are they protesting? No, they're not doing anything. They're all talk. They're all talk online. Okay? And I don't want anybody to be violent. But it'd be refreshing if these people would start writing their congressmen or donate to pro-gun groups that are fighting the lawsuits, or maybe have an organized protest where they go to Washington, D.C. and rally outside the Department of Justice that oversees the ATF and holds up signs and says these things. That'd be great to make their voices heard. But are they? No, they're not. But they talk big. Man, they talk big. And they're mean to other gun owners that might be saying, hey, the way to do this might be to peacefully comply and then fight it in the courts. Oh, you're a traitor to the cause. You're a whatever. I just kind of feel like in order for us to overturn these laws, to get things, changed, it's not going to be through armed revolution. We're not at that point yet. Do things the right way, go through the courts. Maybe one day, 50, 60, 70 years from now, we'll get to that point. But right now, we're not there. So the way I kind of look at it is that what's going on with the FRT triggers is an involuntary Mexican standoff. You guys know what a Mexican standoff is. It's where, you see it in the movies where there's 3 or 4 people and everyone's pointing their guns at each other. Well, what's happening is I don't really think the ATF agents that are having to go door to door really want to be doing it. I really don't believe that. I don't think they're that big of a deal. And I need to make a video on this because if they did think it was a big deal, they'd have warrants and there'd just be more about it. And they would have arrested the people that made the force reset triggers. I mean, come on. They arrested that guy that made the auto key card. But the people that owned and operated Rare Breed triggers and Big Daddy Unlimited, they're not in jail. Why is that? Because I think the ATF knows they would lose in court. That's my personal belief. So they're like, we're going to go about this in the most devious way that we can without needing the courts. And so who knows how it's all going to end up. But anyway, that's what that's the situation that we're in. And we're in this Mexican standoff where the ATF agents, I don't think, really want to enforce it, but they have to because they have to feed their families and they need a job. But on the other hand, the people that are getting these visits are wanting to probably do the smart thing, which is I won't speak without talking to an attorney. But on the other hand, they're not willing to pull the trigger either and get into, a big legal fight. So it's this big Mexican standoff that nobody wants to be in. Nobody really has a big stake in the game. There's stories about people with the FRT triggers handing them over, going through a lawyer to hand them over. Some people are not saying anything. It's just saying, you need to talk to my attorney or come back with a warrant or whatever. And the ATF agents really don't seem to be pursuing it all that hard because I don't think they want to get involved. So that's just the situation we're in. And I really feel like that's what's going to happen with pistol braces as well. Something interesting that people are talking about as well is that when it comes to the pistol braces, they're telling me that I'm wrong about something, okay? And what I was wrong about, they're claiming, is that I said there was not going to be mass non-compliance, okay? Because the ATF estimated that there's, 6 million of these braces. The industry says it's up to 50 million of these braces. And the ATF claims that only 150,000 people have amnesty registered these guns as of right now, and we have like 2 weeks left on this amnesty. So they're saying, Jason, don't you see there's mass non-compliance? But what I don't think people understand is most people that bought those things have no idea that the rule has even changed. In fact, I have gotten a number of emails from people and people commenting on my videos saying they just heard about this and they owned one of these. What do I do? The deadline's coming up. It's not like the ATF had this massive campaign to put it in the news and was broadcast everywhere and the rules were explained clearly. Most people don't follow gun politics like you or I do, or follow politics in general, and they had no idea. Most of the people that have this stuff don't even know that the rules have changed. They just bought it at a gun show. Of course, if I bought it from an FFL and did the background check, it's got to be legal, right? So I really need to make a follow-up video now that the deadline's coming up. So anyway, that's what's going on. I got a cool SKS rifle and just wanted to respond to some people's comments. There we go. Sorry, hit that box there. But just respond to some people's comments about what I've said in the past and how I don't understand. When I think I speak clearly, people constantly misunderstand. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. So what do you guys think in the comment section below? I'll try to title this video in a way that maybe might get a little bit of traction with those people that might be following the channel now and comment on those other videos so they can see my response. All right, so let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.